Notice the shortage of comics last week? Let's get a little insight why. What's going on, guys? My name is Johnny Lee, and this is the Big Two, where I discuss anything comic book related. Today I'll be talking about the 5th week event. Noticing a shortage of runs being released on the 5th Wednesday of a month? That is because publishers base their comic book runs on a 4 Wednesdays a month cycle. Every Wednesday is New Comic Book Day, but on average there are 4 months out of the year where there is a 5th Wednesday. A perfect example of a publisher's scheduling is DC's Rebirth, having some runs being released on a bi-weekly schedule instead of a monthly. Batman would be released on the 1st and 3rd Wednesday, and Detective Comics would come out on the 2nd and 4th. You basically get a Batman book every week. Now, when the 5th Wednesday comes around, that would technically screw up the scheduling for these 2 runs. Back in the day, a summer scheduling scenario, there were 4 different runs of Superman happening a month. Action Comics, The Adventures of Superman, and Superman the Man of Steel. DC decided to fill in the gap when the 5th Wednesday arrives by releasing a run called Superman, Man of Tomorrow. This was the start of a lot of publishers releasing events, new comics, Elseworld kinds of stories, and crossovers. This was the 5th week event. Nowadays, the 5th Wednesday is filled with annuals and delayed runs. But DC has introduced an interesting event with the Teen Titans Annual Number 1. This issue is the finale of a crossover event called The Lazarus Contract. Teen Titans, and Deathstroke's latest issues led up to this annual with a crossover throughout all 3 runs. Landing on the 5th week, it seems like DC might be bringing back the 5th week event. You can take advantage of the shortage of runs this week, save some money, or you can just pick up a run that you might be interested in, but it wasn't in the budget before. Plus, it would be a good time to pick up a previous catalog to see what's coming out in the future. So I hope you got some insight from this video, and won't be surprised with the shortage of runs released last week. Now here are my 2 big suggestions of last week, and my big 2 suggestions of comics being released this week. Even with a shortage of comics, it doesn't mean that there's a lack of quality being released. Here is my first pick of last week. Coming from watching the Wonder Woman movie release, my recommendation is Wonder Woman Annual Number 1. This story is a direct connection with the Wonder Woman Year 1 run, which was one of the kickoff stories for Rebirth. A revamped introduction for the universe-altered DC due to Rebirth of the first interactions between Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. Other stories are included in this run to take Wonder Woman to dabble around the world of DC. A second recommendation is Saga 43. With Image Comics' 25th anniversary, this issue is only 25 cents, a quarter. This is a good jumping on point for any readers that hasn't got into this run. I advise everyone to pick this one up at your local comic book store. Now here are my big 2 recommendations for this week. Heathen number 4, published by Vault Comics. I've been a fan of this new run, an original Kickstarter comic by writer and artist Natasha Adarisis. I apologize if I butcher that name. Now with this comic being published by Vault Comics, it might mean that your local comic book store might not carry this brand. If you are a fan of this run, but can't find it in your local store, I would suggest letting them know so they can order that in for you. Green Lanterns number 24, written by Sam Humphries and art by Carlo Barberi and Matt Santorelli. As their training comes to an end, Jessica and Simon prepare to head back to Sector 2814. The new partnership between the Green Lanterns and the Sinestro Corps may mean reassignment and new partners. I'm definitely intrigued on what happens next after Jessica Cruz punches out Guy Gardner, and what kind of Sinestro Corps partners Jessica and Simon might end up with. Plus, the cover is pretty hilarious. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you see, give that thumbs up a hit, subscribe if you want to support my channel, and click that little bell if you want to be notified for any future videos. My name is Johnny Lee, and this was the Big 2 segment.